Hello everybody, it's Pam here with Tattered Paper and Lace, and I am finally back to show you a new journal I've been working on as promised. It is huge. It's taken me a while to get it done, so I'm here to show it to you today. It is a very old book, over 100 years old, 1898 or 93. I can't remember, one of those two. The copyright page is in here, so we'll see that when we get to it, and I'll verify. This is an oversized book, first journal I've done with an oversized book. It has around probably around 200 pages. It is 10.5 by 7.5. It has an 1.75 inch spine. This is the original spine, original cover. It has been covered with a Liquitex matte medium. And I have, as you can see, if you can see, I have charms all along the sides, all along these trim lace pieces. And there it is. So let's go inside. So I've used several books that are a Victorian, Elizabethan period, so it has that sort of flair of French, you know, bourgeois sort of flair to it. I love how it turned out. There was another lady that I had seen her videos. The reason I got inspired to go ahead and do this one was she had a similar book, similar color, similar size, and she just did a marvelous job with it. So I sort of fashioned it somewhat after hers. I honestly don't remember who it was now, but anyway, I thought this one turned out really nicely. Love these pictures of these grand opera houses and things. So we have a little bit of antique lace here with a charm. Here we have a rusted gem clip, and this folds out. This is going to be hard to show you, really. Folds out. You've got a coloring book page here and journaling pages here, and a little gold trim. So we have just lots of different things. And then here, this is the title page. I've added the little topiaries there. And this is one of the few pages that is actually an original page from the book. As you can see on the bottom here, if you can see, it's very fragile, so it has a tendency to tear. So I was not able to use other pages. I made copies. This is beyond the copyright dates, so we should be good there, because the copyright is it's older than I thought. It's 1889. So what I did here, this is the original page. On the back here, I made a copy of this copyright page on a piece of vellum, and then I attached with matte medium the vellum to the back of the page to give it enough strength so that it would not crack and tear. But there was only a couple of pages I could do that sort of thing to, or something to make it be usable in here. This is napkin decoupage. We have a greeting card here with a flip and a little journaling spot here on both sides, tucked in there. And this is it's like a vellum. It's architect paper that architects would draw plans on. My father drew house plans, and so he had a whole pad of this left that I've been working on. Here we have another vintage lace pocket with this is a piece of scrapbooking paper from Tim Holtz, and this is from 1929, and it is a handwritten prescription, and that is tucked right in there. This is packing paper. We've got packing tissue. This is a pocket made with a border, a wallpaper border that I fussy cut the images out. And this says scribbled, because that's what this is for. And then these are from the inside sheets of a wallpaper book where it shows you the images. And this all looks like the Queen's jewels and so forth to me, so I included that. And then this is a Tim Holtz piece that looks sort of like the cover of this book, so I've included it as well. And those all tuck right in here. Now, over here I have a die cut on the other side of this packing. So this is packing tissue. Then we have vintage stationery. All of these three are vintage stationery. This is something that came from my grandmother's possessions. That's a true parchment here. Doily, the other side of the architect paper. Then we have, this is a calendar. And it doesn't have the year because I didn't want the year to be on there, but I use this. It's one of those large desk mat, you know, blotting kind of calendars that's on your desk. It's like 20 by 18 or something. I use that to do some of my coffee dyeing, and so this gets the transfer of that coffee dyeing, and so eventually I just use them. So this worked out well because finding pages that were big enough, papers that were big enough to cover this height and width was a challenge, to say the least. Anyway, we have foreign currency in this pocket. Another card that says riches, and then this is another Tim Holtz piece. And that's in there. Here, this is from one of the introduction page of this original book. This is a actual, back in the 70s, decoupage was quite popular. And that is a piece that was already fussy cut, ready to decoupage, that I found at an estate sale. Whole box of things that were already cut out. So very cool. So I thought that fit perfectly in this book. Both of these are packaging paper. I did some stenciling with gesso and then used some metallic, it's kind of a champagne color metallic ink on it as well. And that's just a flip out. This little stitching is not true stitching. That is a rub-on. I have found that rub-ons have a life. Most of mine are past their life. They won't rub on anymore, but I used them in other ways. A little charm here on this piece of lace, and this piece of lace is part of a pocket. And in here I have a very vintage postcard. No date, but you can tell by its style that it is vintage. And then this is a postcard that I made myself from a picture in a book. And this is just a little piece of writing page here. And then this is fussy cut from a Happy Mail envelope that I had received. And then in here I just have a little piece of, this is a piece of wallpaper with writing on it, and that's just tucked inside this little piece of ephemera here. I believe that came from Ephemera's Vintage Garden. Little bit of a book page with some sewing pattern and a piece of fabric. Here's some more stenciling with gesso and the paint. This is from like a child crafts book, this umbrella. And most books are too big to hold the umbrella, so it had to be in here. Here is a piece of applique that is actually a vintage collar that you could apply to a shirt you were making. It's blue and white, and I kind of grunged it up a little bit so it wouldn't be so white. But then we have a little flip journaling card in here. And then this is another vintage postcard, and it is from 1916. The color was perfect for this book, so I have included it as well. The other side of the calendar page, I've taken these pictures from books just to give that a little more interest. Here I had purchased a fussy cut, set of fussy cuts from an antique store, and again, she's taller than most books will allow, so I've included her on here. And so this is sort of what I'm considering to be a book that has passed down from the Elizabethan to the Victorian to the early 20s, I guess, that just passed along in the family line. And so it has a lot of different eclectic things in it. This is an original piece from the book. Here I have a place to write, and then this is one of my dried flower pockets, glassing bags. I have a video on how I do those if you want to go take a look under the tutorials. This is from another book that I've made into a tag. I left the strings hanging. You can cut those off if that's not to your liking. And then in here, we have another journaling card that just tucks right in there. This is a printable. This is an original page from the book. I was able to use this one because it's the other side of the one that's the copyright page. I love the images in this book. They're absolutely beautiful. But what I did was put washi tape all the way around the edge of this one, which helped. And then something in the middle of it to give it a little more strength. This is fussy cut from that wallpaper border again with just a picture from a book. Here I have made my flip-up pocket. It has several pieces of that's from Tim Holtz, this paper at the bottom. And then just another postcard and a bird journaling card there. So that just folds back up, closes up. And then that's the end of that signature. And then on this signature, we have a fabric pocket. And this is a 1940s ad, the James Curran Genuine Antiques. It's a 1940s ad from an antiques magazine. And I decoupaged napkin on top. And then I have a book page, 2 book pages here from another early, I don't even remember the copyright, but it was an early 1900s book that I've included in there. And this I love because I love and every page had this beautiful border around it. So I have cut out the middle of 2 pages and put them together and then had something either transparent or suspended in the middle of that. This is another original page, but I glued it on the back of this page so I could actually use the original page. That is the only way I have been able to use original pages without making copies. Some more vintage stationery. Here's a little fabric tab. And this is a big book that has mazes in it, so we included that. Packing paper. Here's another fussy cut from the border, and this is just 2 pieces from the calendar that I'm using. Had this section over to write notes on, so I just cut those out and put them in here to journal on. Little decoration there. This is another piece of craft paper, and this is I love this. I found this at the thrift store. I love this. It sort of feels like metallic thread, and I love that. Love the color of it and everything. I thought it fit well in here. These are pages from another book that's not old, but it's showing old images. This was lace that I received in a Happy Mail, and I've put a little silver tassel on the end of that one. And then we just have a little piece of paper. This is a die cut here, and then this is a little matchbook. Well, it does come open. A little matchbook journaling card here. That goes in this pocket. And then here, this is some of those some of those rub-ons that actually don't rub on. So I've had to just glue the whole piece down. Rub-ons have a lifespan, a shelf life, whatever you call it. Anyway, this is original from the book. I was able to use this one because it is it is more of a cardstock sort, although it is still fragile in its own right. And this was in the center of the book. So I thought that chart of life, I thought that was kind of cool. Some more rub-ons here, some more of that tissue. Here's some more of that little metallic lace or trim. Here is a little collage, and this is, let's get a little scrap of paper here. This is a pocket itself. I just didn't put anything in it. And then I have this little poem that's a rub-on about the butterfly. So this page is a copy of an original page from the book. So it's on a much sturdier paper. We've got a little trim here with a little charm on that trim. Die cut here. Another gesso stenciling with the paint, and this is made into a pocket that has a journaling card, big journaling card here, and then this is a vintage book, and it says it's from the scrapbook 2nd edition. And I think it's probably from about the same time frame as this original book. That's there. This is a pocket made with an embroidery piece that I have in my shop. That's in a bundle of embroidery pieces, and I've used several in here. And so you can see that embroidery. It is cream colored, tone-on-tone cream colored. I wanted it to have a little color, so I took a Tim Holtz Distress pad in a color that I thought would work, and I just rubbed it over the embossing, which made it have color at that point. So you can get embroidery, a yard of several, like 7 or 8 embroidery pieces, this one being included along with some others, have these little pieces on a bulb pin here, and then this is just a piece of paper to journal on. It slips right in there. Then here, this is a big pocket. I didn't put anything in. This book kept getting fatter and fatter, so I didn't put anything in this pocket, but this is a big pocket made with this tapestry. I loved that. Then over here, I've even included a bottle of wine journaling card. So you have a bottle of wine here from France. This is a picture of France. Then over here, we have another postcard art. It's an art gallery kind of postcard with a famous painting. It's tucked right in there. Then here is another embroidery piece, and this one was already pink and green, so I didn't have to do anything to it. But this embroidery piece is also something that is included in my embroidery bundle in my Etsy store. And here I have another one of those art cards. This is I used to be a outside sales rep for a wall covering company, and this is a postcard that was a giveaway. That was one of the patterns in one of the wallpaper books. And then this is just a postcard here. And those all tucked right inside here. So these embroidery pieces, you can slow stitch with them, obviously, but you also can use them, as you see, as pockets in a book, which is mostly what I do because I don't really slow stitch. The vintage stationery, more packing paper pages. This is a rub-on that didn't rub on anymore, so I had to, that's why you see it as a little bit of a glare on it. But I like the way that look. Now, this is something I did, which was my first time doing it, and 49 Dragonflies has done this technique, and I thought it was pretty cool. It's called Kenzuki, and Kenzuki is a Japanese art form for repairing ceramics and pottery. And when the ceramic and pottery is broken and you have the cracks when you put the pieces back together, what they do with this Kenzuki method is use a compound that has gold color in it and fill the cracks in with the gold color. So I just crumpled this picture up and used my gilding wax to give it that sort of look. First time trying this. I don't dislike it, but I would do it a little differently when I tried it again. So anyway, I like that. So that's Kenzuki, we'll call it Kenzuki paper art. Here we have just a little tab with words. This is another copy of an original page with a little lace. So I did some stitching throughout here. Not a terrible lot, but I did a little bit. And then we have this beautiful, love this charm here, goes there. And here is another one of those art cards under this little piece of, this is a Tim Holtz piece here. And then here I've made this little pocket of a chocolatier ad that was a stamp, and I used silver ink to stamp it. And I did it on this because this is a bag from a candy shop somewhere that my friend salvaged and gave to me. And then here is another piece of foreign currency, and here is a vintage playing card tucked right in there. Did some stenciling around this photo, And this is fussy cut from a piece of junk mail that I used as the frame. Some more stenciling with the gesso here and using the paint. This is 2 pockets here. Little journaling there. And here's a little piece of journaling too here. And then this is another faux postcard that I made from a picture in a book. Tucked in there. Calendar page with some little cluster here with a little charm on it. That's a tassel. And then we have some coffee dyeing here. Here is another little, I did some stamping. This is a little picture from a book somewhere along the line on a piece of tissue. Here's this signature, another little cluster here. This is a no snag gem clip. I'm not going to take it off, but it says antiques on this side, and then this side is this little decoration, and this is French words printed on vellum. More of the calendar page. Here is another gesso stenciling, little cluster here that's a tuck spot. These are from the book Utopia. It had a little tiny book called Utopia that was falling all apart, so those fit right in there. It's the other side of that candy page, did a little stamping on that. Another copy of an original page. Here is another piece of this applique that is the collar that I cut and then folded the flowers in half to make the tab. Here I have made a little faux photo, you know, those stereo, this is not, you know, but a photo frame kind of thing. Pictures from a book, and these are Tim Holtz frames, and they're the thick board, baseboard kind of board, but I peeled off the frame part because I didn't want it to be that thick. So that just goes right there. I thought, I liked how this turned out. I thought that turned out very, very cute. Looks very cool. It's kind of the daguerreotype things that, you know, kind of a play on that. Little tab here. Here is another piece of the embroidery, and this is from a long, you know, taller, longer piece, but I fussy cut the flowers out of it. So that's another way you can use these embroidery pieces. You don't have to use them as a whole piece. So that is also in my embroidery bundle in my shop. It's a whole box of 7 or 8 or so embroidery pieces, yard or so of each one. Here is another rub-on that didn't rub on anymore. So I just glued the whole thing that it was part of on there. Love the layering of this. Stamping here. This is another large pocket that I didn't put anything in because so it's got, oh, I did put something in it. It's got so much in it, but I did put a little something in here. Oh, this is from a book, and it's a reference, which I thought was kind of cool. And it is the chronology of French history and the royal houses of France. And because I was thinking this was something that was passed down from generation to generation, that there would have been bits and pieces included that would tell you some of the history of this book, if you will. Now, this was a double page from a book. I liked that, so I made it be a full double page here. A printable here from one of the Facebook groups I'm in. I thought that was really pretty. More vintage stationery. Another copy of an original page from the book. Another printable here. This is from the Antiques magazine, and this one is from 1942. And I've just made that be a pocket, and we have a book page here in German. And then this is a page that is actually, it's in an old-fashioned print, and it is a science sort of journal-y kind of thing. So it is talking about different remedies for different things, which is kind of cool. Here I have made kind of a message board, if you will. I have a piece of laminated Queen Anne's lace tucked in here, and this is I fussy cut this from a piece of card stationery, and so this is on the bottom or the top of each piece. So I have two of them I cut out, and then I have a piece of vellum in the back, and I left this open so that you could tuck pieces in here, which kind of makes it like a message board, if you will. And so I have the Queen Anne's lace tucked in here. I have this photo that has a photo on both sides from a book tucked in here. And then this piece of ephemera, which I think is a Tim Holtz, tucked in here. And so all the way around, you can tuck things in all the way around this. I thought that was kind of cool. I enjoyed making that. It took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do. I had done something similar in another journal way back, so I thought that turned out really cute. I like that. And then here we've got one end of this string that has the key. The key is the one that opens. The other one I just left long because I liked the way it looked, but the key is actually the one that opens this. I've got a tutorial on this as well. I don't have anything in here, but you have this large pocket, and then you have a pocket in the back there, and that's made from a paper bag. And the flip open one is also made from a paper bag. So I have both of those things. It's made from the same paper bag. I have both of those things as a tutorial in my shop. So that closes up like that. Here's another one of those fussy cuts that I had bought at the antique store with some rub-ons on a book page. And this again was taller than most books can handle, so it needed to go in here. More rub-on here. This is a fabric flip with a vintage piece of embroidery, and this is the shape it is, and I'm not sure what that's used for. Somebody told me somewhere along the line what that was used for, because it's not a dresser scarf, but it looks like it should hang on a shelf and then just hang over the front because it's squared off in the back. And I added this little piece of rickrack. Another image from the printable from the Facebook group. This is embossing. It's not really embossed so much now, but it is embossed with a rubber stamp, then with some gilding wax and some distressed ink on tissue. So this is actually toilet paper tissue. Another print from a copy from the original book. This is from the original book, not a copy, but an actual piece. And then another copy from the original book here. A little collage there, a little collaging over here, and then here I have this beautiful piece of trim applique that has a leaf charm on it, and then I've made this envelope with a wax seal. I've used several wax seals in here. I'm not sure I pointed them all out, but it opens up, and then you have a card to journal on inside, and I just made it look like it was a letter sent to someone that they wanted to keep it, and that's tucked in there. And then over on this side, I have collaging. Here's another wax seal, and then I have, this is original from the book, so I made it, it was on a page, I just cut it out, and I just made it look like a advertising card like you used to get back in the 20s. And then just another stamping image on black in the silver. Then over here is a pocket made from a book page that has 1, 2, 3, 4 pockets. So I have the little butterfly with a vintage playing card, another vintage playing card that I decoupaged on. And then this is another chocolatier ad from a stamp using gold ink that time. And then just a blank card in the back to journal on. Another page that's original copy, decoupaged, packing. This is actually from a scrapbook of the day, from late 1800s, early 1900s. And this, it was these things, you know, had all these things attached. I just love looking at these old scrapbooks, and they just cut things out of books like we do and applied them to pages, things that they liked, they thought was pretty or was popular of the day or whatever. These two pieces were loose. They had not, the glue had not stuck well. And so I was able to pull those up and thought it needed to go in this book. Here is applied. This is a cigarette silk. It's like a cigarette card, except it's actually made out of fabric. And they called it cigarette silks, and they had flags and botanicals and flowers and birds and all kinds. And I came across a whole bundle of these and cigarette flannels, which are a similar thing, but was a flannel material. So I've included this here, and this is holding some playing cards from some children's game. Not sure exactly what, but I liked how they looked and how it fit. Here's another, that antique lace with another crown charm on it. And then here, this is an image, free image from 49 Dragonflies, and she, I copied her. She did a page in one of her journals that was similar to this, making these doors open into this lovely lady in her parlor, I guess. So that goes there. And then here I have included what would be considered, I suppose, its own journal inside this journal. Another wax seal, and this is magnetized. And in here, I've used a greeting card. Love the peacock. Used a greeting card to make this have its closure, which you can journal on that. And then this is made from a junk mail envelope. And this is empty as well, but that's a place to put whatever things you'd like to collect. And then we have some, here's some die cut page, actually a fussy cut, for you to journal on. So this just has several pages in it, and it is a secret journal because it's all closed up and hidden. So you can do some secret journaling there. Here is the other side of the fussy cut page. And then here I have a tag that is made from a Tim Holtz packaging card, and this is the fussy cut from the wallpaper border. I stitched around it and I stitched on the tab, and then I left the strings. You can cut those off if you don't like it, but the strings just said to me they wanted to be left on there, so they're there. So I've got collaging here, and this is little bits from a hair tie that I took apart, and that is just tucked in here in this little pocket. And then we have another large pocket here. So I didn't put anything in the very large pockets because that is for you to put things in that you might like to keep and hold on to. So here, back here, we have a belly band, of which I did not put anything in, although I may coffee dye this and put this in there. This is also something I have in my shop, a bundle of Baker's Dozen, which is 13 advertising pieces that I have cut from wallpaper, and you can coffee dye these. Here's one that has been coffee dyed, so they do beautifully coffee dyed, or if you need to, you can keep them white. So that could go in there, and I might just slip that one in there, just like that. And a little collage in here. Map pages. I've got this, I did a video on this book that I got these maps from. It was at Ollie's, and the maps are copies of very old, ancient sort of maps, and I had to include them in here. Little stamping there. And this is another piece of that vintage, antique, I believe it's antique, lace pieces that I made it into an open window here. Another copy from the original book. And then here we have an invitation to a royal wedding using my not so great calligraphy to write it. But anyway, I thought it was cute. And this is another wax seal. And then the last page, this is the card that I cut making the message board sort of thing. This is what I cut it from, was these cards like this. So I've included 2 of those that have been coffee dyed in here for you to journal on. And then that is the last page. I didn't put a pocket here. I normally do put pockets in the front and back, but I didn't do that because it was already so fat. It is already so fat, and it is already alligator mouth. I don't want to do a closure on it because I haven't been able to come up with one that I really liked, that I thought would do justice to the book. So anyway, that's my new journal called Apples of Gold and Pictures of Silver from 1889. And this will be in my Etsy shop. So I would appreciate it, you going and taking a look. I will have a link below to that, to my shop. So thank you all for coming along and watching. Please comment and let me know what you think about this journal. I love to see your comments, and I love to answer them, and I do answer every one. So if you would, I appreciate you subscribing and hitting the bell for further notifications, and to comment when you watch this video. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.